This is an apple picking Pentathon.
Hello, BookTube. Cheers. It's been an interesting day, as you can tell by some of the material we started the video off with. We went apple picking this morning. Then I met the town manager over at one of the parks, and we, between the two of us, dug 4 pits for a horseshoe tournament we've got coming up. And in Vermont, when you dig, you're firming rocks. You don't get very far without hitting rocks. So I'm a bit beat. I think lugging the soil and dumping it over near a spot out of the way anyway was the hardest part. The shoveling wasn't that big a deal. So they're all in, they're all dug out, and this coming weekend we'll have a horseshoe tournament, a little bit of a fair, library book sale. So if you're in my neck of the woods here in the Upper Valley of Vermont, stop in and buy some books. And this is also the last week of Pentathon, and it was flippin' easy, and it was flippin' fun. So thank you, Matt Wall, over at Paperback Junkie. I'm not a hardcore comic book guy. I did read them quite extensively in the 70s when I was a kid, and I had a neighbor who had a collection that would probably be museum worthy, except for he wasn't the kind to keep them. He threw them all in a big, never forget it, a big giant box that a washer or a dryer came in, and it was full to the top, and he'd just move another one in and throw them in there. I don't know where he got the boxes, and he wasn't very neat about it, and I never seen anybody read so many comics in my life. But I would go through them sort of like you go to one of those movie bins at Walmart or something, just scrounge around, dig around, see what you can find. And I did read Batman back then, among others. And this week I read a Batman comic that's in a collection. I read just the one, and it's Batman Black and White. I've started getting back into the comics, watching Steve's Wednesday comics show, Steve Donahue, and I'm learning how much I don't know, which is always good. So in this case, I read a comic called Perpetual Mourning, and according to the volume itself, it's a written and illustrated by Ted McKeever, lettered by John Workman. And it is black and white, as the title indicates. Give you an idea of the art style. Also look at the lettering style, because at the start of this, the lettering threw me a little bit. And I'm not an expert at comics. They just threw me because I had trouble reading them with my old man's eyes. So we have sort of an interior monologue going on, while for some reason the Batman is doing the autopsy of a woman, a young woman who's been murdered. And it's bleak, to say the least. And the interior monologue with Batman, I did get used to the lettering after a while, and I think maybe it fit. It just was difficult for me visually a little bit in the beginning. So I'm not criticizing the lettering. I'm just saying that it was something I had to deal with. The interior monologue that Batman's having with the imagined personality of the victim and the self-referential nature of it was a little strange. On this night, I'm this, I'm this. You're, going to be remembered by me. I didn't get to you in time. That type of thing. So it's bit melodrama. The artwork I enjoyed, but and the black and white nature, it sort of fit the setting. And yeah, I would read this one and move on to the next one. The problem with a collection like this is, so we start off here um, with Ted McKeever, and then we immediately go into the next comic. It's called Two of a Kind, and this is Bruce Timm. So you can tell the artwork's entirely different. And that's fine, except for, well, I'm not saying I prefer one or the other, but I started off with the one. I would have sort of liked to have worked my way through. But I guess the point of this whole collection is this black and white used a lot of artists and authors and different people lettering. So instead of John Workman, the next time it's Todd Klein. And the next one's written and illustrated by Bruce Timm, so instead of McKeever. And then you have a Joe Kubert. It just goes through a whole list of different styles and authors. So as an experiment, sort of like a themed anthology, have one of these anthologies of short stories, and you have all these different authors. You have sort of a central theme that ties everything together. So that's fine. I can get on board. But I did enjoy the first one. It was good. Like I said, lettering threw me a little bit at first, but that's okay. I do think it fit the story. It was a bit for me to get used to. And now I'm going to go drink some beer and watch some baseball. And I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.